name is Soleil Guerra, and today I will be talking about the Popol Vuh, more specifically the creation myth featured in it. Popol Vuh is essentially a compilation of different myths that were used to explain how the world worked and different phenomena. Much like the Bible, the Zoroaster, Greek and Roman myths, the stories kind of remind me of the Epic of Gilgamesh in the way that they're worded. They're very poetic. They're not straight to the point. They kind of dance around it, which I really like. You kind of have to guess what they're saying. I don't know. I find it really funny. But it is significant to Mayan culture because it was considered their sacred holy book of the community. It featured a code of ethics, an insight onto how men were supposed to act, what made men men. It gives insight into ancient Mayan life, that would otherwise be lost to history. And it's relevant today because it gives us a window into Mayan life. It warns us of the dangers of cultural suppression and colonization. I will be talking about the creation myth featured in the Popol Vuh. I chose this myth because there were a lot of similarities in it to the Christian creation myth that I grew up with. I grew up Catholic, so it resonated with me. And there are a lot of similarities, but also a lot of differences, considering, they were on different sides of the world. But it starts off with nothing in the universe. There was only the sky, the sun, the sea, and the gods, they wanted praise, so they created animals. But this proved unfruitful because they didn't speak coherently like conscious people would. They squawked, made animal noises as animals do, and the gods decided not to destroy them, but to subject them to being eaten by these beings that they were going to create. On their technically first attempt, they made humans out of clay, but this didn't work for what the creator wanted them for. They kept falling apart. They were very delicate, and they couldn't really think like people could. Coherent, conscious people can. On their second attempt, they made them out of wood. But again, this proved unsatisfactory because the wood people were unfeeling. They didn't have emotions. They didn't have memories of their creator. They didn't have a conscience. They were basically just walking robots. And the creator decides to send a flood to destroy all of the wood people. And this reminded me of the story of Noah's Ark in the Bible, where God sent a flood to destroy all these people because they weren't behaving accordingly. And yeah, it reminded me of that story. And I find it interesting how many cultures around the world, many cultures who didn't really interact, have flood myths. It just shows how important agriculture and water was to these ancient people's way of life. I mean, it still is important to our way of life. It's how we sustain ourselves. So yes, the creator sends a flood to destroy them, and on his third attempt, he finally makes people out of corn, which proved fruitful because they could now worship, sustain themselves, and have human emotions. They had memories of their creator. So that is the story of creation in the Popol Vuh. Popol Vuh remains relevant in our world through its themes, lessons, and cultural insights. One of the themes that stuck out to me the most was its emphasis on the importance of the natural world. It encourages us to view nature as something sacred, which I think a lot of people would benefit from hearing, but it's not like they would listen. Anyway, another theme I liked was the importance of the collective well-being of society. The creation of humans from corn highlights our interconnectedness with each other and nature. The Popol Vuh also teaches us lessons that promote sustainability, resilience, and cultural preservation. And I honestly think it's a text that everyone should read. It's very beautiful. I give it a 10 out of 10.